From MontanaSports.com, this is MTN Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Sports Extra on a Saturday night. It's perhaps the most consequential day of the Big Sky Conference season so far. There's a top 10 battle in Bozeman between Montana State and Idaho, and in Missoula, it's a must-win matchup for the Grizzlies against 24th ranked Northern Arizona if Montana wants to keep their dreams of back-to-back Big Sky titles alive. MTN's Casey Conlon leads off our Big Sky coverage with highlights from Washington Grizzly Stadium.
The Grizz back at home this weekend against Northern Arizona. Montana forced a 3-and-out early. Then we're at midfield when they decided to go for it on 4th down, but Alex McLaughlin comes screaming off the edge, hits Logan Fife, forces the fumble. Brandon Wong scoops and scores. Only touchdown of the first half. Let's jump to the third. 13-10 NAU. They get tricky with the formation. PJ London flips it to Colby Katzis, makes one guy miss, and he goes 88 yards. Massive play, takes the air out of Grizz as the Jacks go up 10. Now Montana's next drive into the red zone. Logan Fife on the keeper. No one goes with him. 3-point game, 20-17 there. To the fourth. Montana's offense in rhythm now. Fife steps up. Hits Junior Bergen in the end zone. Montana takes its first lead, 24-20 with 6 to play. Northern Arizona needs to make something happen on offense. 4th and 2 from their own 33. London looking but throws well wide of Isaiah Eastman. Turnover on downs. Montana would go down and score again to ice it. The Grizzlies complete the comeback to get back on the winning track. Casey Conlon for MTN Sports.
Big second half comeback here for the Montana Grizzlies, outscoring Northern Arizona 28-7 in the second half after trailing 13-3. Marty, going into the bye week for Montana, they needed this after getting upset by Weber State in overtime last week. This was a good win for them.
Oh, huge win. Really hard-fought win, Jay, by both teams, but especially the Grizz. Bobby Houck teams, with very few exceptions, they tend to dominate that fourth quarter on or middle of the fourth quarter on.
Let's talk about Northern Arizona. The Lumberjacks come in with their third-string quarterback, and Brian Wright, the head coach, really had a game plan to help that quarterback manage the game.
Great game plan. He came in with quarterback runs, a bunch of wildcat, some things that the Grizzlies haven't seen. He relied on his halfback Hubbard just a little bit and some special plays that got him some momentum. But usually when you're in that situation, the better team typically comes out on top. And I suspect that that's what happened at Washington Grizz Stadium today.
Well, Grizz Nation can calm down a little bit with a bye week to get a little breath of fresh air. Let's talk a little bit about Logan Fife. This third consecutive start, had 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 passing. He had a great game, and the senior leadership, because it looked for a while that Montana was out of things in the first half.
Well, yeah, the NAU defense dictated some of that, but they went to those RPOs that Fife is really an expert at. And the one thing that I was impressed with Fife is that he proved that he could win a different type of game. A slugfest to some extent. A very hard, tough, physical, lower scoring type game. There he is on a read option. Put it in for the game winner there.
And how about those bootleg calls? He was naked and just ran right into the far corner. Everyone was going the other way. Good calls by Brent Peace.
Brent Peace did a fabulous job. It didn't look good early, didn't it?
No.
I'm telling you, it didn't. NAU's defense looked like they were dominating Montana's offense. But Brent just hung in there, stayed with the game plan, stayed with some of his creativity, and it worked for 31 points.
All right, Montana moves to 2-1 in conference. Northern Arizona drops to 1-2. A 31-20 final victory here at Washington Grizzly Stadium for the Montana. They came from behind. It wasn't looking good early, but they got it done for head coach Bobby Houck, picking up his 134th win. The most of ever in the Big Sky Conference. For Marty Morningwig, I'm Jay Cohn. That's it from the stadium.
Meanwhile, Montana State is 6-0 this season, but have yet to be tested by an FCS opponent. Well, that changed tonight when the number 3 Bobcats hosted number 7 Idaho in a nationally televised game in Bozeman. Here's MTN's Grace Lawrence from Bobcat Stadium.
Welcome in to Bobcat Stadium. MTN Sports' Grace Lawrence here for a Big Sky After Dark showdown, and it doesn't get much better than this. A top 10 matchup between number 3 Montana State and number 7 Idaho. Idaho has the ball first, and they opt to go for it on 4th and 1. A quarterback keeper by Nick Josephek, and he's met by the linebacker duo. Makeda O'Reilly and Danny Louis-Lakepa come up big for the turnover on downs. But with the Bobcats, Tommy Mellott fakes the handoff, and he'll go 65 yards to the house. They call him Touchdown Tommy for a reason. Mellott using his arm this play, a 34-yard completion to Taco Dowler, slides into the end zone for the touchdown that puts the Bobcats up 14-0 going into the second quarter. Your score at the half is 24-0. Bobcats for full highlights later tonight. Check MontanaSports.com. In Bozeman, Grace Lawrence, MTN Sports.
Well, Montana State and Idaho are still in progress on ESPN2. For the final score and full highlights later tonight, head over to MontanaSports.com. Still to come, all eyes on Dillon, Montana for the annual Digger Dog rivalry. Sports Extra continues after the break with Frontier Conference highlights. Stay with us.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
Welcome back. Well, Montana Tech and Montana Western have faced off on the football field a total of 119 times, dating back to the early 1900s. And the 120th meeting might be one of the most meaningful in the storied history of this rivalry. MTN's Luke Shelton has more from a top 15 matchup in Dillon.
MTN's Luke Shelton down here in Dillon for the latest chapter of Montana Tech versus Montana Western as the 7th-ranked Bulldogs host the number 12 Orediggers. Now there's always a little extra zest with this storied rivalry, but today's game comes with a big slice of intrigue with a top 15 matchup and the winner not only earning bragging rights, but an inside track toward the Frontier Conference crown. Let's get to those highlights. Well, in my preview, I said look for the Orediggers to keep feeding Lander Smith, and guess what? First Tech drive and the senior running back feasting as he rips off a 48-yard gain to put his team on the doorstep. And 2 plays later, he'll punch it in and the Orediggers strike first. And I also talked about Western's potent passing game in my preview, and check out this dart from Michael Palandri to Eli Norse to set up his team at Tech's 6-yard line. Now second quarter, 4th and goal, and the Orediggers defense blows up the run. And what a start for Montana Tech. The Orediggers, though, need to get it out of the end zone, and Blake Thielen's shot intercepted by Braden Swank, and the Bulldogs back in business. But guess what? 2 plays later, Michael Palandri rolling to his right, and it's Peyton Gonza returning the favor, and both defenses making big plays. And now Tech on the move, and there goes Wyatt Alexander off the screen pass, and he'll set up his team just outside the red zone. But Braden Swank simply dialed in today, and there he is making the diving interception to halt another Tech drive. And now the Bulldogs finally hit pay dirt. Off the screen pass, Jake Humphrey is going to make a 41-yard house call, and Western knots this game up. Then end of the half, and in Western Dillon cashes in again on a 14-yard strike from Palandri to Kobe Tanioka, and the Bulldogs take the lead. On to the 4th quarter, Western looking to close out this game, and they do just that as the number 7 Bulldogs pull away for a 27-21 victory, and Western has won the last 3 games in this series.
You know, the Frontier Conference is so tough because every team can beat any team any weekend. So, you know, you just do your job and take it one game at a time. We're ready for Rocky, but we're going to go celebrate this one tonight.
And elsewhere around the Frontier Conference on Saturday, Southern Oregon routed Rocky Mountain College 54-14 to deal the Bears their 4th straight loss. Meanwhile, MSU Northern gave Eastern Oregon a run for its money, coming up a touchdown short as the Lights keep hunting for their first win. In Dillon, Luke Shelton, MTN Sports.
3. That's the number of weeks remaining until the high school football playoffs begin. But for now, the focus is on just getting into the postseason. Let's take a look at some of the week's biggest matchups from around the state. Let's start in Great Falls, where unbeaten number 3 Billings West jumped all over the Bison early. The Golden Bears built a 28-0 lead in the opening half before Great Falls eventually trimmed it back to 14. But West moves to 7-0 for the first time since 2020 with a 42-28 win. And up next is number 1 Gallatin. The Class B ranks number 2 Manhattan continues to roll. Three Forks took an early lead on the Tigers on Friday night, but Manhattan would score 26 unanswered points, pick up a 33-16 win over the Wolves in a key Southern B matchup. And finally, how about East Helena in Class A? The Vigilantes have had one of the more potent offenses this season, and they lit up the scoreboard again against Lockwood. East Helena hung up 54 points on the Lions as they improved to 4-3 on the year. Up next is a trip to Laurel and what will be a key showdown for playoff positioning. Now here's a look at a few scores from around the state. In Class A, Havre with a huge win on the Highline over number 4 Laurel 27-20, while number 4 Florence picked up a win over number 5 Eureka in Class B. A couple critical games in the 8-man ranks as top-ranked Fairview remains unbeaten with the win against Scobie, while Chinook handed number 9 Sealy Swan a 20-14 defeat. And in 6-man, defending champion Centerville looking primed for another deep run. The Miners handled Roy Winifred 56-7. Scores, highlights, and more at montanasports.com.
Still to come, we're taking a trip around the state to profile a few high school soccer teams before the postseason begins next week. Stay with us. Sports Extra. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by montanasports.com.
1 year ago, the CMR boys soccer team finished winless on the season, but with a new head coach leading the way, the Rustlers are in line for a postseason berth. MTN's Will Charlton has more on one of their senior leaders.
Over the last summer, CMR senior soccer player Luke Stevenson took a humanitarian trip over to Thailand, an experience he'll truly treasure for a long time.
Well, we just like to give back, and there's so much bad in the world, it doesn't hurt to put a little good back into it, and just be nice people, and others will be nice to you.
Luke Stevenson embarked on a 3-week journey across the world to volunteer and help build a new classroom in Thailand. He followed in the footsteps of his siblings, who also went on similar trips.
My siblings have all done humanitarian trips across just different places. My brother went to Argentina, my sister went to Thailand in the same city I went to.
He developed some valuable traits in his time there, which can also translate to athletic competition.
Communication and teamwork, because of course, not very few of them were able to speak English, and so we had to learn how to communicate outside of language and be able to get along with each other.
CMR boys soccer coach Brian Clark said that Stevenson has a great outlook on life, and it's noticeable on and off the field.
Off the field, Luke's one, offering to help, looking around to see if there's a neighbor that might need talking to, things like that. On the field, I think it's just a work ethic and a team-first mentality, knowing that he's a part of something bigger than himself.
Stevenson said working with those people in need made it all worth it.
Just working with the kids and working with the people, just over there, just because of how less fortunate a lot of the situations are, and just seeing how hopeful they still are and how much fun everyone can still have.
After returning from the trip, Stevenson said that it made him feel good to see the kids enjoying their new classroom.
And we were the 4th of 5 phases. And just seeing the classroom once it was finished after we got back, and just how happy all the kids were to be inside their new classrooms, it just made me feel good to see how much they were enjoying the building.
And he would push a message across to anyone to go experience something like he did.
I would 100% recommend going and doing this, even if it's within the U.S. or wherever your option may be, just going out, giving back to the community and doing it with people that you don't know and creating new bonds and friendships.
Stevenson and the Rustlers have one more match remaining in the regular season before AA playoffs begin. In Great Falls, Will Charlton, MTN Sports.
Meanwhile, the Billings West girls are one of the state's top teams and gearing up for a deep postseason run, thanks in part to an international edition, making an immediate impact for the Golden Bears. MTN's Scott Breen has more from the Magic City.
West High soccer girls are certainly enjoying a terrific season, one they hope ends in gold, much like the school colors. And this particular team is enjoying an unexpectedly pleasant surprise.
We didn't really know we were going to get an exchange student, and all 4 years Rob has been like, oh, we're getting an exchange student, we're getting an exchange student. We're like, whatever, no, we're not. We thought it was a joke, and then this year she showed up.
She is the Netherlands'
Sienna Seochon.
Teammates call her Shen.
She got here her first day and long flight and jet-lagged, and just meeting everybody was a pretty new experience, and hadn't played with any of these girls and everything, and she came out and stood out right away.
Turns out Shen has a strong soccer background. Her dad played professionally, and her Netherlands club team fields players up to age 26, meaning she's grown up holding her own, even at 5 feet 4 inches.
The Netherlands is more physical, and I see that if you play more physical here, that the ref will whistle faster.
She's tough. she can shoulder you off the ball, be physical if she needs to be, but she also has the finesse part of the game that's fun to watch.
But she got a yellow card, and she was like, that would never be a yellow card in the Netherlands, so yeah. She wasn't very happy, but it's okay.
Arriving in the U.S., Shen said she was both excited and nervous because she'd never been away from family for more than 2 weeks. Still, instead of staying for only a semester, Shen's committed to the full school year because
I just wanted to experience the graduation and the prom and all that American stuff.
As for soccer business, the Bears are in position to claim a 2 seed when playoffs open in exactly 2 weeks. Last time the West girls won it all was only 3 years ago.
I've had so many different seasons through my career here at West, like going from winning state championship, then losing in semis, and then losing in quarterfinals. So I know how much it sucks, and I know how great it feels to win.
Alongside this surprise exchange student, it may not be a surprise to see West make a deep run when the sun sets on this season. Scott Breen, MTN Sports.
Still ahead, the defending Class A soccer champs are looking to go back-to-back despite a coaching change. Sports Extra continues.
Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
Well, you don't often see teams make coaching changes after winning a state title, but both the Whitefish boys and girls entered the season with new mentors after winning gold in 2023. But as MTN's Derek Joseph tells us, the Bulldogs haven't lost a step in their quest to go back-to-back.
We really just want to play good soccer and play with appropriate good sportsmanship and learn about ourselves along the way, push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and just achieve each individual's highest level of play.
After the Whitefish boys and girls soccer teams won state championships last year, both teams came into the 2024 season with first-year head coaches who had big shoes to fill. Eric Sawtell has been with the boys soccer program for 3 years, and in his first year as head coach, he's noticed his players' winning attitude has not changed.
Got some senior boys who, starting from the winter all the way through spring and through summer, they've just given us great leadership. They show that on the pitch every day, and so they're kind of leading the pathway for the rest of us, I would say.
One of those seniors is Preston McPherson, who says the team has not missed a beat since Sawtell took over.
Yeah, Coach Sawtell holds us to the same high standards that Coach Lacey held us to, so it's been pretty much the same thing, very smooth. You know, we're coming in, we've been doing the same thing the last 4 years, same way, just same program, just different names pretty much, I'd say.
On the girls' side, new head coach Kelly Ordway is taking over after coaching only club soccer teams over the years. Delaney Smith says her new coach brings a new style of coaching that is unique to what the team has experienced in the past.
It's different because I feel like this year we have like a group mom almost, because our coach is kind of just like a mom, and she's super positive and tells us what to do, and she's kind of just like our backbone.
The first year with a program can come with a learning curve. Even with that in mind, Coach Ordway has high expectations for her team.
This is a special group of players, so they have the potential of the highest again if they're able to reach the state championship and compete again. They've just had a great season so far. We've learned a ton every game. So yeah, there's definitely a pressure to try to replicate that again this year, but we're just taking it one step at a time and learning a bunch each week.
Reporting in Whitefish, I'm Derek Joseph, MTN Sports.
That's our time for this edition of Sports Extra on a Saturday night. Thanks for watching, and remember, the conversation continues at MontanaSports.com, where you'll be able to find a full recap of the Montana State-Idaho game once it's complete. For now, I'm Tom Wiley. We'll see you next week